Dance along if you want to.
I'm good.
Lane, you know how to dance.
He's a singer, not a dancer. Get those words!
Well, good morning, guys. Let that be your wake-up call. It's time for a brand new edition of the Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day on all the automotive enthusiast auction channels, including Rad For Sale, P-Car Market, Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, all those auction sites. Today's a big day. How you doing, Michael Deeb? What's going on?
Happy Cinco de Mayo. I just had a breakfast burrito.
Did you really?
Yeah. That's as close I came to.
I can smell it from here in on the Las Vegas Strip, and you're all the way in the Bay Area, along with
You are so happy we're not in studio together this morning.
I am, yeah,
sure.
we are. It's good to not be in a gas chamber. We do have a third nerd today, and an expert. This is the show where we nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day. We choose the most interesting cars from all the cars on all the auction sites. There's hundreds of cars going up for sale today, and there's a lot to know about all these cars. We whittle it down to just the ones that are the most interesting, and we're a couple of yahoos that don't know anything, so we thought we'd bring in an expert, kind of like we did yesterday. We had Paul from Auto Kennel on. He was awesome. He helped us out. There's an actual expert. You hear his voice right there. Lane Skelton from Rad For Sale and one of the creators of Radwood, as well as the Driving While Awesome podcast. Lane Skelton,
what is up, buddy?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Look at this. I still have your Chiron from last time. Look at that. I didn't erase it. Oh, dude, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Look at that. He's in the home office.
I'm in the home office, dude. The office garage.
The office garage. Look at that.
It's pretty good. I had a Formula One party or viewing party here a couple weeks ago, and we just had the doors open and had the couch back, and we had like 12 people. We had a little bar going on.
Oh, Lane, I will drive down for that if you can. If you can stand to have one more nerd in the garage, I will come down for Formula One parties. Absolutely.
And I'm 4 blocks from the beach, so we just walk down there afterwards.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah, I'm in. I love Santa Cruz.
Did you guys do some skinny dipping?
Oh, you know it.
It wasn't skinny.
See, there was a little bit of an awkward silence, but it's like, no. Well, yeah. I mean, that happened. I get it. That's okay.
Yeah, right. It's too cold, dude.
Yeah.
It's shrinkage. Guys, if you're just joining the show, you've never been on the Nerds, what we do is we pick a bunch of cars from these auction sites, and we don't just nerd out about these cars, talk about horsepower, why they're interesting, and all that kind of stuff. We actually make predictions of what we think these cars are going to sell for. All the cars that we talk about today are cars that their auctions are going to end within hours of this show. This is a live show. We do this every Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock hour Pacific time when we get our act together. And so the first thing we do on every episode is we go over yesterday's cars. We see how we did on the cars that we made predictions on just less than 24 hours ago. And we see just how wrong we are, and which is very wrong. So Michael Deeb, let's go ahead and go over yesterday's cars.
All right, so JP, yesterday was our first day of the week, and we had Paul Kramer from Auto Kennel on, who is absolutely, of all the guests we've had on here, he might be the best expert. He's literally in the business, and he's a huge Porsche guy. We were definitely Porsche heavy yesterday, and he kind of kicked our ass. I don't know if you saw the results yet or not, but it was all Paul all day. So we'll start off with the Ferrari, the one truly non-Porsche car in the whole lot. This car was on Bring a Trailer. It did have some sort of collision with like a fence post or something on its Carfax history. And we discussed whether or not that would hurt the value based on how finicky the Ferrari market can be. Anyways, my guess was 135. JP, you took a strong over at 140, and Paul was in between us at 139. Believe it or not, this car sold for $135,000. So I got a Yahtzee.
Wow.
And that was my high point for the day.
Italian car guy gets a Yahtzee. Dang.
Yeah. Lucky guess. Absolutely lucky guess. The next car was on Cars and Bids. Lane, you'll love this one. This was a 1987 Porsche 951. That is a turbo that was in, oh my God, JP, what was the name of that color? It was Flamingo Metallic. And we decided that that was just Silver Rose by another name. That color and looks very similar to Silver Rose. And it had an all burgundy interior, but it's not the Silver Rose paint recipe, and it's not the Silver Rose model. This is just an 87 with like 217 horsepower. Nice car, high miles. There was also an incident on its Carfax history. So I said 17 grand. JP, you took the under at 14.5. And once again, Paul came in between us at 15,500. This car on Cars and Bids was bid to $16,000 where it did not sell. So I chalk up the win, but Paul was the closest. All right, another really cool car, and this one, even though it's a Mercedes, is very Porsche-esque. This is, of course, the 1994 Mercedes-Benz E-500. These cars were, let's see, they went across the highway in Stuttgart to ask Porsche to help them design the suspension and make accommodations in the engine compartment for their biggest 5-liter V8 that they could shoehorn into the W124 platform. In 1992, Mercedes actually shipped these cars over to Porsche for assembly. But in 93 and 94, Mercedes had taken all the tooling in-house, and those cars no longer made that 18-day trip across Stuttgart to Porsche. They just did them in-house. These cars are still collector miles. This one had some miles on it and a teeny bit of rust. And so we kind of wondered where this one would come in because we've seen 500Es trending in the right direction and moving up market ever so slightly. So I said 37. JP, you took the under at 30. Paul came in above you at 31. This car sold for $32,000. So you got the win, but Paul was closer. We also looked at a 2005 Porsche 911S. This is really, it should just by all accounts be a plain J 911S, but if you look closer, we've got a 6-speed manual, we've got full leather interior, we've got adaptive sports seats, and believe it or not, somebody plumped for the $8,250 ceramic brake package on this car. This car came on lobster forks. The lobster forks are included in the sale. They don't have tires on them. And then he's got the 19-inch Carrera Classic wheels on there, which I think look really good. They might not be period correct to a .1, but this car looked fantastic. The IMS bearing was done in 2007, so this is a hands-on, worry-free, go out and rip it with a manual, a limited slip, ceramics. I mean, what more could you want from a standard car that's not a GT? This one was beautiful. Low miles, triple black, and we thought it was going to break the bank. So I said 57. JP, you said 60. Paul said 58. This car sold at $59,000. So JP, you got the win, but you and Paul sort of split the difference on that one. So really close there as well. And then our last car, also on Bring a Trailer, was the 1980 911 SC Targa. Really nice car with like 66,000 original miles. It had sold prior on BAT, and we kind of discerned whether or not having the previous result helps a car or hurts a car, because previously this car only made it to 46. But there's a lot to like here because it's basically original paint. The car is in excellent condition. And SCs have been trending up for sure in the last year. So I said 55. You said 54. Paul said 58. The car sold for 60. So I beat you by $1,000, but Paul was way closer. So I got the win. Paul was closest on 4, and I got a Yahtzee. That was Tuesday.
Man, that was a blast for yesterday. Yeah. Hey, Lane, that's a bunch of cars. A bunch of those are very Radwood worthy, right? We've got a 1980 911 Targa. That's about as rad as you get, an 87 944, and that 94 Mercedes 500. Of those 3 rad cars, which
the Ferrari's rad?
Oh yeah, the Ferrari 98 355. You start getting late in the 90s, and I start to kind of take it out of the rad category. But that was a car that came out in the mid 90s, so that's kind of a continuation, right? So, which of those 4 is the raddest? We have the authority here. So what say you, Radwood authoritarian guy?
That is hard, dude.
Right?
Yeah. If you had your Karate Kid moment, you could pick one to take on a date with Elizabeth Shue. Which one would it be?
I mean, that's tough because one is clearly worth way more than the others, but
sure.
Yeah.
But which one is more likely to get you a Radwood royalty statue?
it probably none of them are going to get a stat. None of them are extreme enough to get you that award, right? It's like the Silver Rose. I've never seen a
Flamingo
non-89 Turbo S in Silver Rose, so that's
Flamingo Metallic is the name of that color. How weird is that?
Hey, let's be clear. That's not a Turbo S. It's just a turbo.
Okay, no, that's what I said. I said I've never seen a non-89 Turbo S in that color.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a weird one. I've never seen a pre-89 in that color, essentially.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. I mean, the Ferrari's it has to be the standout. Although I'm with you, JP, and in that a lot of the like late 90s, like Radwood era, actually for me in a lot of cases ends in 95.
Yeah.
So that's kind of on the fringe, you know. It gets more into, because you got to think about cars that came out after that. We're getting more into that bubble era of the late 90s and 2000s that kind of carried over, and I
wanted to ask you because like I currently own a Mercedes. Oh man, I'm gonna look like an idiot. I think it's a 124. It's a 99 E430 Sport. So that's a body style that I believe came out in 96. Yeah, W210. Yeah. There you go. So I think that body style started in what, 96? Would that be correct?
No, I think it started in 99.
98 or 99?
Oh, 98.
It had to be like at least 97. If it's a 98 model. Yeah,
it might be right.
Round headlights.
Yeah, because the 124 ended in 94, 95. So I think JP's right, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
But that makes it even more to my point is that it's decidedly a late 90s car, which technically fits into the rad era.
Yeah.
And if I were to want to sell that car, is that something that you guys would accept on Rad For Sale? Because it is a 99, and I would feel bad submitting that car to your site because I just don't feel like it's in the spirit of it. But then again, maybe it is. I mean, what the heck? It's a 430 Sport, man.
Yeah.
No, it works. People bring, tons of cars post 95 come to our shows, and even we'll allow 2001s if they're a complete continuation from a car that started in 99 or something.
Yeah.
It's just my personal view is that like a Boxster is not a Radwood car.
Yeah.
Or is it 996?
Or as a 996, and then 987 came out in 97, and that's still not a Radwood car to me. Although we will have them on our site, and we will have them on our shows, and they're cool and everything, but it's like, it just doesn't scream Radwood era, I graduated high school in 98, and we were definitely, that did not feel like the era that we celebrate. Really.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, by that time, guys were wearing socks again, right?
They were, and they were Backstreet Boys and all that stuff. It's like, that seems like that's different.
Well, that's the thing.
New wave.
Yeah, I came up in the 80s, and so I love Radwood to see all the kids bringing all the different fashions, but there's definitely way too much mix of like 80s and 90s stuff that never went together. I mean, if you're in your, your LA, if you're some chick in your LA gear standing next to my, something like my W210, it doesn't work. Maybe if it were that 94 E500, at least that looks like a car that could have been in the 80s, but extended in. I mean, it technically doesn't work, but an E500
LA gears
looks like
never cool where I'm from. So
hey, I grew up in Cowtown, man. I was in the sticks, dude. But there weren't any European cars either. Everyone was kicking it next to their, Brodozer Ford trucks and
Brodozer.
It's not much cool in Snohomish, Washington in 1987. Let me tell you.
Snohomish. Oh man, that's funny.
We called all the girls snow hose. All right, guys, let's get to
brutal.
The cars of the day. This is where you nerd out on the most interesting cars of the day, and all we've been talking about is cars from yesterday. So let's get to it. Before we do, make sure you hit the subscribe, like, and notification button if you haven't already. Also, before we get to today's cars, Lane, is there anything? You had me on the DWA podcast yesterday, so I could plug my new show, Porsche Road Trip. Thank you very much. When does that come out? And now's the time to plug DWA for those losers out there who haven't heard of it already. I mean, who are they?
So
nobody.
DWA podcast. We do a weekly podcast. It comes out every Thursday. And JP's episode drops tomorrow, so that's on May 6th.
Yep.
And it'll be out at midnight. So when you wake up, it'll be available for download. I think it was a good hour and a half of rambling, and it was a fun time. So go have a listen.
Yeah, there you go.
Definitely some nerding out there, and boy, thanks again. You guys were awesome. I don't know why you had me on the show. You're gonna lose a lot of followers. Okay, let's get to today's cars. The first car of the day is a car that I've never quite understood the value of this car, and we all know that I'm a Porsche guy, but who the heck cares about the 50th anniversary thing? I love this car.
Are you kidding me?
I love the car, but the 50th anniversary moniker just seems so stupid to me that anyone would pay extra money for this car. Let's hear it, Deeb. Why am I? What you always say?
God.
Why am I wrong? What do you got?
So this one with Pepita, it has the Pepita seats and stuff. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Deeb's got a speech. I know all the things. I know it's got all the stuff, but whatever. It's just a 991.
Listen, historically, all the anniversary cars have done well. I think, isn't it the 89s are the 25th anniversary? The 30th anniversaries were in Europe. They were basically 964 C4 wide bodies, and the launch color for those cars was this like violet metallic. And so those cars are like unobtainium in the U.S., and a lot of them were done in the violet in Europe, and those cars have a massive premium that is paid for them. 40th anniversaries, the 996s, JP, with the power kit and the perforated leather steering wheel and seats and those 19-inch beautiful ball-polished wheels. Those cars get a premium, only outsold by maybe C4Ss. And
all those cars you mentioned have significant differences from the regular one, particularly.
So does this.
It's seats.
No, it's more than seats. All right, hang on.
Whatever, let's
hang on.
All right, he's going to tell me
go.
all the things.
All right,
it's
so
what colors too, but they're fairly different. Or
three colors. There's three colors this car came in. So what we're looking at is a 2014 Porsche 911 Carrera 50th anniversary model. They made 1,963 of these cars, and they're numbered. Our car is offered out of Marin County. It's number 873 out of 1963. It's in geyser gray, arguably the least attractive color of the three. The other one was a dark gray metallic that I can't think of the name of off the top of my head, and the other one was black. But this kind of looks like a metallic eggnog. It's not an attractive color, but what you're looking at is a 20-inch replica of the Fuchs wheels, the aforementioned Pepita seats. They came with either a 7-speed manual or a 7-speed PDK, and these all came with the X51 power kit that gave these cars 430 horsepower and 325 pound-foot of torque. They all arrived on PASM Sports suspension, and again, with the 20-inch wheels and a limited slip differential, there's a lot to like here. I think the trick would be to order yours with a manual transmission and a slick top, no sunroof, and if you really want to go old school, get the rear wiper on the back. And cars that are equipped like that bring a huge premium. This car offered out of Marin County has just 978 miles, and I do think they're special. I think they're great driving cars. They come in attractive colors. You've got a throwback to the gauges, if I'm not mistaken. They have kind of that early 911 green painted dial digits and stuff, so they look like long hood gauges. And then the Pepita seats, the Fuchs wheels, I mean, sign me up. I love these things. And this one was $137,000 when it was brand new, and it's already sitting at $130,000 this morning. So the big question to you guys is, is whether or not this one's going to break MSRP. Is it going to bring a premium from new from 8 years ago? So, Lane, what do you think? You like these things?
I think it's cool. I kind of feel, JP, it's a little bit of like a GTS package, right? It's like most of the stuff is obtainable as like a special order kind of thing. So, I mean, I guess the seats weren't available. And
the seats are it.
Script and stuff. But besides that, I feel like everything is kind of like, they just packaged everything that's already there.
Yeah.
I do wish it came in a more like one-off color, or had a few other things like that, where like a Martini 924 used to do, where it had like red carpet and
right.
You're like, oh, that's a different thing than all the other cars. And like you said the 89 anniversary cars had the white, like silver interior with the piping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I mean, I guess that's the same thing with this. Those were actually very similar as well.
The green gauges, the Fuchs wheels.
Green gauges are cool.
Yeah. I love the whole thing, man.
No, it's
Fuchs
cool.
wheel. You could get Fuchs wheels. Big deal. You could get all this stuff. The only thing you couldn't get are the seats, and even there, you could go to someone and get. I mean, what's that?
Special Wishes will make you the seats for like $12,000.
You could make the regular seats, put a pattern in the middle that looks very similar to those.
But you could do that with anything, right?
I know,
Exactly.
but no, that's not the case. No. Look at the 997. What was it called? The the last 997. It was the Carrera, the one that it came out. In the very end, what was that car called? Somebody help me out.
I'm not sure which one.
There was a special 997 Carrera that came out that wasn't a GT3 and it wasn't
Sport Classic.
It was the Sport Classic, and that had a notched roof. Yeah, they had it had a carbon fiber notched roof. That is not something. And a ducktail. Thank you very much. Those are things that are special that you can't just order and just put on. Yeah. It's kind of like an M car. You've got to make this car. If it's going to be special, they should have done a roof like that, or they should have given it a tail, or like you mentioned, Deeb, the wide body of the 964. Something that you couldn't just go and tack on to a regular 991 and make it look pretty much the same or perform the same. A power package that was above and beyond the X50. Something that's other than just some stupid, just tack on aesthetic stuff. And let me tell you, for the record, I think it looks beautiful. I love the wheels. I love the seats. I love all these things. But to pay a premium for this, get a 991 and put some cool wheels on it. This is dumb to pay twice as much.
But JP, you love the 40th anniversary 996, right?
Yes, because it has
the same thing.
The 40th anniversary 996 has a different nose, and it has a more powerful engine than all the other
flips on, dude. It's just
it does, but it's a body part.
Change it in an hour.
You could, yeah. I mean, you're talking about a body part. When you got to change body parts, that's a significant difference. I mean, you could also make a narrow body car a wide body. What's that?
No, because that's hard goods. That's like part of the actual structure of the car. So if you're looking at a roof, that's a big deal. But a bumper is like
especially on a modern car, you're right. Yeah, I mean, on a 996, a bumper is pretty darn easy.
Bumpers on 997s, and it takes no time at all.
Yeah, but at least you're right. I agree with you 100%. I think the anniversary 996 at least has more power than all the other 996 narrow bodies. You could get an X50 package in. Could you get an X50 package in a regular 996 narrow body? I don't think you could. I think you could get it on the wide body, and I think you could get it on the turbo. But that year, I don't think you could get it on a. Yeah, but I don't think you could get it on just a C2. I don't know.
No, I think so.
And the perforated seats. Yes, I'm with you. I think
JP, the thing I wish these cars came with that would have set them apart is a 6-speed instead of a 7-speed. Because they put them on a GT car.
Yes.
So a 6-speed with an available single mass flywheel, and now you're all of that stuff comes together. That's the one thing I wish
gets
like on a
there
GTS or an X50. If you get an X50, charge $15,000 or $20,000 and give me the 6-speed manual and make it a real freaking driver's car instead of a PDK with a clutch pedal.
They could never have gotten away with doing that, though, because this was the first 991, and they were already trying to sell everyone on the stupid 7-speed that really is a fake
terrible gearbox.
7-speed. It's a fake manual. That is a PDK
Feels like a
unit,
Honda.
Kids. Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. It's still fun to drive, but it's not a real clutch.
It is, yeah. That motor is great. The wheels are great. I love the seats.
I think it's beautiful.
Even though I agree with you, JP, they could have taken it like another step further, made it another degree more expensive, and in of itself would have made it more exclusive, and then a better argument for why it's a collector down the road. Mm-hmm. But I still like that they did it, especially that dark gray one is the money. That car's hot.
I actually like this car.
I think they look good. I don't think there has to be like I don't know. I feel like people have such a, like, when the 911T came out, you know, they were like, oh my God, how dare them? They called it the T. You're like, well, it's a pretty cool package, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at, like, there's a lot of, like, you know, Porsche guys like to complain about a special thing, and you're like, why are you complaining that they're giving you another option? Like, you don't
I know, right?
that, you know?
I thought the big complaint on a 911T was that, you know, Porsche was like, oh, we'll give you less stuff and charge more, like they do everything else. That's their move.
Exactly.
It was a good price for the parts that were compiled. I mean, it was, you can get those for 99,000 or, you know, 100 grand, and they actually came with a lot of good stuff. It's like a GTS.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, it's a great car, but it was still a base 911.
The trouble is, Lane, when you went to the dealership to order one, even though the base price was 99, by the time you got the stereo and the wheels and the this and the that, it was still 125, 130 grand.
I know,
that
but
just didn't make sense.
It was still a good price for the package you got, and you got lightweight
Fair play.
glass.
Fair play.
I'm going to pull a Michael Deeb and say, instead of this car, I would just rather have a 911R.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You think for 3 times the money?
Yeah.
I
Dude.
have a Carrera GT.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
since we're having fantasy section of the show, yeah, why not?
I mean, it does say what Dur over my shoulder here. I can't
Dur,
even get it right.
Yeah, Dur. The other Dur.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. So where's this car going to land, Michael Deeb? Where are you going to buy this car at?
So JP, this car is on P-Car Market, which we forgot to say. So we do have to take into consideration this amazing platform. That being said, our car's got 3 hours to go, offered out of Marin County, which is just across the bay here. Lane, you could drive this home. I'll pick you up and drop you off. It's sitting at $130,000, and it's got 15 bids, which is decent action this early in the close on P-Car Market. We see cars go into the final hour with just 3 bids, and then, you know, they get 20 bids at the end. I think this car is going to sell for 140 grand. It might go over, but I don't think so on P-Car Market. So I'm going to say 140, and Lane, send it to you.
Dude, you're giving, like, you're lobbing this, like, the fact that it has 3 hours left, I would have said this thing is worth like 80 grand, dude. I don't even know. I guess.
It's at 130.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Well, I mean, it is crazy low miles. I mean, we were talking delivery miles here. This is 978 miles. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a pretty good guess then, 140.
Take the over the under.
I'll go high, dude. I'll go 145.
All right, there you go.
I'm sorry, Michael. Where is it at now?
130 with 3 hours.
130 with 3 hours. I'll go $140. This, you know,
that's me. That's my.
Oh, that's you. Oh, 140. I thought you said 145. What in Lane was what?
145. Yeah.
145. I'll split the difference. I'll go 142.5. Just because, I mean, it's a guess, and P-Car Market is so terribly unreliable. Whatever this car, we'll just say it like it is. Whatever this car brings on P-Car Market, it would have brought about 5 to 10% more on bring a trailer. So whoever's selling this here, I don't know what you're thinking. Yeah, good luck. Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, we talk about platform pretty often here, and look, BAT brings the most money, but BAT, the downside of BAT is it just takes a long time to get on there. It takes a month to get your car through the process. Whereas
or more.
It's like 5 weeks.
More, yeah.
It's 5 weeks. Yeah.
Whereas P-Car Market, they will send a guy named Guido to your house and say, "Hey, you said you wanted to sell your Porsche. We're here to collect." You know, they're just they're Long Island.
I'm here to photograph the Porsche.
Yeah, we are talking checked pants. They have a jacket that looks just like these seats, and they are a used car dealer of auctions. Yeah. So
with a white belt.
Be advised if you guys work with them. All right. Now, unlike Rad For Sale, we're
genuine dudes.
Genuine dudes. They don't own a used car lot in New Jersey or on Long Island. All right. So what else we got?
Sawdust in their transmission in my life.
All right, JP, let's jump over to Doug DeMiro's side. Cars and Bids has sourced a 2007 Mercedes-Benz R63 AMG. You may recall that they took just a light toe dip into the third row minivan set to see if they could sell cars to the American soccer mom. And while they were at it, they were in a period where they were applying the AMG treatment to every platform they made. So for a very, very short window of time, you could get what is essentially a minivan with a race car motor, and that is the R63 AMG. They basically shoehorned the 6.2-liter normally aspirated V8 with the speed shift automatic 7-speed transmission. We're good for 507 horsepower. And believe it or not, a normally aspirated 465 pound-foot of torque. JP, if this thing was turbocharged, I wouldn't even guess it would have that much torque. That is incredible. Now, these motors were known for having weak head studs, and they could be catastrophic if they fail while you're driving the snot out of your minivan. So the owner of this car has done that. In 2017, there was a major service, and they replaced the head studs on this motor. So one would think that you could buy this car and drive it worry-free, knowing that that has been addressed. Other than that, there's no modifications to the car. It has relatively low miles at just 89,000 miles, offered out of Apex, North Carolina. The very rare, very cool, very weird, and somehow I don't know that I want to own it, but I really like this car. I love that they made it. The R63 AMG. Lane, what do you think, man? Would you, if you had to, would you?
Yeah, I'd rock it, dude.
Yeah, I would too. Like, tinted windows, right? That's all it takes.
Yeah, dude. It's so stupid. It's cool, right? It's like
exactly. It's like a moped.
Yeah, dude. It's like would I cruise a Murano cross cab for a week? Hell yeah, you know. It's like that, you know. But with some power, you know, so you can do burnouts and race people. Imagine Romeo with this thing. And,
oh my God, yeah.
If ever there were a reason for a video of doing burnouts, now would be the time. Yes. I mean, you know, all minivans are tragically uncool. Even one as badass as this, just it's not possible to be cool unless you had someone like Rami in the same exact parking lot just ripping the rear tires of that thing off and making a smoke show. That would make me go, huh, you know, because if you want the same powertrain in a G-Wagon, you're going to spend, you know, $100,000. Whereas you could get this minivan version of basically the same thing for where is this stupid? Talk about stupid. Today's episode should just be like the stupidest cars on Cars and Bids Bring a Trailer and all the automotive auction sites. Where is this dumb thing going to land?
All right. So, JP, believe it or not, you know, our classes are worth like $7,000 in this day and age because they're now 14 years old. But this sucker with 2.5 hours to go out of Apex, North Carolina, is sitting at $28,063 on a whopping 18 bids. Not only is that a miracle for the car, that's a miracle for the platform. I can't believe Doug DeMuro is going to get like $30,000 for an R63. It does have low miles. The head studs have been addressed. It's probably the right color in triple black. I kind of love it with the 19-inch wheels and red brake calipers. But yeah, this is a really niche car. I'm going to go ahead and bet the farm. I'm going to say $35,000 brings it home, because I cannot remember seeing one in recent memory with under 100,000 miles on it, and I've never heard of anybody addressing the head studs. So, Lane, this is as good as it gets. Do you think I'm crazy, or are you going to bet the under?
No, you're not crazy at all. Those engines, they will go. You know, I have a friend with a W204, and he has like 200,000 on it.
That's awesome.
A 63 motor, and I think he had I forget if he had that address. I do remember that was an issue. Anyways, before you said what the price was at, my number was 30, and I'm going to stick with 30.
Oh, there you go. Good job. All right, JP, $30,000 to you. I was at 35.
And it's where now?
It's at 28,000, and it's got a couple hours left.
And you're at 30?
He's at 30. I'm at 35.
Oh, you're at 30? Okay, yeah, I'll go 31. I think Doug DeMuro stalls out. This is neat. You know what would be cool with this car is just black out all the chrome trim, just black out everything, and
full limo,
the government package.
Yeah, this thing.
The pictures, dude. Every picture's like from the same. There's like 10 from the same angle, just different shitty lighting.
Yeah, and then you got the guy. You know, I had to look. His reflection is in a bunch of the pictures. Like, is that Doug DeMuro himself? I thought maybe like.
God.
That's what I thought with his iPhone.
Yeah, look at this guy. If you are being mistaken for Doug DeMuro, you probably drive a minivan with a bunch of power.
Khaki shorts and an Atari T-shirt.
Look at this guy. Here's his reflection. Look at that. That is Doug DeMuro's brother. Come on. That is Gary DeMuro right there. Holy cow. Jeez, fella. Oh man.
My God. That's too funny.
Too rough.
Rad.
All right. Let's. Anything other than minivans on this show? I mean, we tell everybody that we pick the most interesting cars of the day, and I don't know, man. One out of two ain't bad. Jeez, that thing is rough, dude.
That was super interesting, dude. It might not be that, a cup of tea, but
JP, you shit on the 50th anniversary before I said a word, and now we covered the coolest minivan of all time.
I agree. The 50th is interesting, but man, a minivan, I never say it. So I would rather have reviewed an Astro van, one of those 4-wheel drive ones that was all jacked up or something.
God.
I mean, geez, a Mercedes. No, that's all right. Let's. What else we got?
Okay,
redeem yourself.
All right. So listen, our buddy Lane lives in Santa Cruz, which means at some point in his life he must have drove an Alfa Romeo. Here we go. A 1992 Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce. The Veloce treatment on this, I think, is only good for like aluminum wheels and like a leather and Alcantara interior. It had no performance gains whatsoever. When in the old days, and I mean like the 50s and 60s, Veloce meant bigger motor, more carburetors, hotter cam, all the treatment. JP, today, in the last days of Alfa Romeo's foray in the United States, Veloce was just an appearance package. This particular car, though, is offered out of Oceanside, New York, not Monterey. That's Seaside, actually. Anyway, this has got 12,000 miles on it. It's in a beautiful bright yellow. These are 2-liter inline fours. They only make about 120 horsepower, 110 horsepower, 5-speed manual, the aforementioned leather and Alcantara interior, beautiful 15-inch wheels. But by the time these cars signed off in 94, 95, they were anemic. That 100 horsepower was not good for motivation. It was just transportation that looked really beautiful. Our car sitting at $16,000 on 8 bids. We have seen some of these, JP, bring some whopping money in recent memory, and this car seems to tick the correct boxes as far as being unusual color, low miles, and the last itineration of the car before it signed off in the U.S. So the question is, do we think this is going to have a late fury on Bring a Trailer? Lane, I know you're in Santa Cruz. All your friends have Alfas. Have you ever owned an Alfa, or am I the only one in the group that has?
Dude, I haven't. I've been so close so many times. Like, I've almost bought like 10 GTV 6s and stuff, but never bought one. I've always liked.
I can see you rocking one of those.
I've always liked Spiders, but I'm more of a, I like a boat tail or an early camtail car as opposed to these later ones. But this is post Miata, so they had to try and do what they could to make it a little, bubblier and color match the bumpers and all that stuff. They're cool for sure, but this is I guess I haven't looked at pricing for a long time. I don't remember them being this expensive.
Oh yeah,
they were
that had like less than 1,000 miles.
Yeah, they were a holdout for a long time. No, that's all right. I mean, the prices on these I kept waiting for the prices to skyrocket on these, and they finally have. And yeah, you're right, Deeb. We saw a couple, like we saw one with like 700 miles that went for 30 grand. I really
$47,000 out of Lodi. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Original owner.
Lodi. Straight out of Lodi.
This color is so cool because it's so decidedly early 90s. I mean, you're right, Lane, that they were catching up. I mean, this is what 964s and 911s were doing the same. Everybody who had an old model from Volkswagen to Alfa was basically like, all right, let's get rid of impact bumpers, round out the bumpers, and we'll call that the new model until we come out with something that's really what the next decade is going to be about. And this thing is so clean. And most Alfas that you see, most these Spiders are red or silver or black or something like that. To see one in kind of this modern fly yellow Ferrari, is that you would know this, Deeb. Is that the same yellow that Ferrari would use on a
I'm not sure.
355?
It's entirely possible because both companies are owned by Fiat, so it could be Giallo yellow, but the guy doesn't say, or at least I didn't notice in the ad. So
it's close enough that it,
really
whether it has the same actual paint coat or not, it sure looks like the same yellow that you would get in a 355 of the same era. And I love this car. Talk about romance, because you're right, Deeb. It's just not a performance car, but to go cruise down the coast and go see our friend Lane, 4 blocks from the beach, so we can go do some skinny dipping with him. This would be the car to go in.
Wham CDs.
Yeah.
Orange mocha frappuccinos.
Where's it gonna land? Where's this one gonna? What's the hammer gonna say?
I just want to say, One last thing, JP. Lane, what you were alluding to where Alfa was trying to keep up with the Miata, so they painted the bumpers and they tried to do this color match thing. JP has been noticing this treatment to several cars from that era, and he calls it the 964 treatment. And I would say this car falls into that category where they tried to update the looks and some of the things before they came out with a new platform, and that's certainly what happened here. So, anyways, pretty astute, I think.
Lipstick on a pig.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is a pretty pig, though. I mean, if
it is.
They're cool. You know. They're cool, though. I mean, they're so cool, and I've never seen a late model one in this color. So
I know. Yeah, the yellow is really rare.
It has to be worth something.
I agree with you. So I think because it's on Bring a Trailer, because we've seen some of these late model ones bring a big number, and again, this one having low miles and that unusual colorway, I'm going to go big on this one and just say I think BAT will have a late flurry on this car. I'm going over the moon to $28,000. So, Lane, where are you at?
I'm at 25.
All right, 25 is a good
How many
guess.
miles did we say this has on it?
16,000, and it's in New York, JP. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
so New York's the problem. Yeah, you said Oceanside. I thought San Diego.
I was thinking of Seaside, which is just below you, right?
Yep.
But this is not. It's on the East Coast. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, New York,
right,
Oceanside,
New York. Oh man.
Rusty.
Yeah, look at that. You got a little corrosion in the drive. Man, what a great road trip car. Go to the East Coast and drive this back. Of course, that would not be fun going through Kansas in a straight line. This is. I'm gonna. What'd you say, Deeb? 29?
28. He said 25.
I'm going 29. I think this thing breaks 30. I think it easily breaks 30. I think really.
Jeez, there you go.
I'm betting a little close to stay close to you, but I really think this is going to be mid 30s.
All right. Okay, here we go. Also on Bring a Trailer, let's bring it back to Stuttgart, guys. This is a car we would all love to drive. It's a 2012 Porsche Cayman R with a 6-speed manual, offered to us out of Milton, Massachusetts. This car has 66,000 miles on it. Let's get straight to the good stuff. It does have the carbon buckets, but it's on steels. I would argue that this is an absolute track car because that's what you'd want. If you were tracking it, you probably wouldn't want the ceramics if you were going to bring this to the track regularly. These cars were bestowed with a 3.4-liter flat six and a limited slip differential, if I'm not mistaken. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And that's what made these great track cars. Good for 330 horsepower and almost 275.
What was that, Lane?
275 pound-foot of torque. You've got bespoke bodywork.
Did we lose Michael Deeb? Where's he at?
Lane, you there?
Yeah. Am I not here?
Let's go. Hey, Michael Deeb, finish it up. Keep going.
Right, anyways, 19-inch wheels, black paint. That's it. All right, I'm going to send it to you guys. What do you guys think of the Cayman R?
Lane, what's up?
I've got bad latency, guys. I'm going to log in.
Okay, he's going to hop back in just a second here.
Cayman R's are cool. I had a friend that bought one brand new, and I think one of the other options was that lightweight battery. That was the first car that they offered with that. And I think you're right, Deeb. I think it was the first Cayman they offered an LSD, because that was always the thing that they never offered them because they would be quicker than the 911, right? And I believe you're right about that. These are super cool, and I think they've kind of come into their own, like over the past couple years. I know I had a friend that he sold the one he bought brand new for the same price he paid for it new a couple of years ago. So they're definitely strong.
Very cool.
And I've never driven one, but everyone raves about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Boxer Spider of the same era. I mean, this is a .2 era, what is it? Yeah. So I mean, these just rip on the corners. I mean, you cannot keep up with someone in twisty, tight stuff. You're not going to get, I don't care what you're driving. If there's no straightaways, you're in trouble. Whoever's driving this is going to be gone. What is it? Patrick Long and some other driver in one of the magazines, I think they took a GT3 of the same era and one of these on the tail of the Dragon, and Patrick Long is like, I'll take this over the GT3 all day long. Yeah. So that's a pretty big testament. Yeah.
Shorter wheelbase, mid-engine. I mean, there's a lot to like here. These cars do work. They really do.
And they solved a bunch of the problems that the earlier ones had. They had oil starvation problems in the on the one of the cylinders, because when they go around, there's a bunch of little problems with the first gen Cayman S's that caused the engines to fail. But they fixed all that by the time they got to the R. And you're right, Lane. Values on these, they were worthless for a while. You could get these for the 30s for a minute, and now everyone's kind of realized what they are. And now, good luck finding one. Here's one on the auction site. What's it gonna go for, Michael Deeb? What do you think?
JP, in 2012, no IMS, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
we're
all right.
way past that. Yeah.
Yeah. Our car's sitting at $42,000 with under 2 hours to go out of Massachusetts. It does have 66,000 miles, but you've got stick, buckets, and steels. I say $56,000. Lane, where you at?
Does the color hurt it? Because everyone wants the green one.
Well, the green ones just bring a premium.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. God, it seems pretty good. Let's say
if it had the seats with a different pattern on it, and they called it a whatever anniversary, it'd be 140.
Yeah, Michael, you didn't tell us if it came with a lightweight battery or not.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm gonna say 58.
Ooh, he's going high.
I'll go 60. And I think this has air on top of it. I think this could conceivably go somewhere mid-60s. Could this car push 70s? If it had lower miles, if this were a 30,000 mile car, I definitely think it's in the 70s, because look, it's a GT3 really. I mean, it's not obviously, but a GT3 of the same area is well into the hundreds now. You're not getting them. The GT3s, 997 GT3s, especially .2s, used to be around 100. Now, I mean, we haven't seen a .2 GT3 for sale in quite a while. So this is as close as you're going to get to it. Definitely.
Yeah, and for Gen 1 Carrera S money, right? Like 997.1 Carrera S money. So
yeah, I mean, how much of that 997 that we talked about yesterday, that one went for how much again? 59 or something. So why wouldn't this car be worth more? Heck yeah. All right.
59, exactly 59.
Yeah. So this car is a way better car than a .1 997.
JP, we're fighting latency problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technical issues.
Yeah, so I'm gonna run through this Fiat real quick.
All right.
1972 Fiat 850 Sport Spider.
Woo! That looks like we lost Michael Deeb. I am so stoked about this car. I can't believe we lost. This was my first car. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he found this one for me in an orange. I don't know what color orange that is, but let me tell you, if you own this car, you will push it as many miles as you will drive it, and you will not care, because it is just so much fun. This car has an engine in the back, 850 cc's. It has a crappy little 4-speed, a bunch of gauges that won't work, floors that will rust out if you spill your McDonald's soda in the floorboards. You're going to lose those hubcaps. That stick is literally going to just break off. If your windshield wipers should fail, which let me tell you, they will in a windstorm, the best way to fix it is to use bubble gum, because the nut is going to strip right off the little motor that has an arm under the dash, and you can reach it when you lift the hood, and just get some gum on there and just stick it on there to keep the bolt from coming out, and you can get through the rest of the rainstorm. Don't bother putting the top up, because it really is.
It leaks anyways.
It doesn't really do it. It's for looks. It's probably going to fly off. This car is going to overheat every time you drive it more than 50 feet. If you could get a pallet, you know how you go to Costco and you get pallets of beef jerky for your studio over there at DWA? What you need is a pallet of fuel pumps for one of these, because they will fail about every 145 miles. And then when you go to replace the and the alternators will probably go pretty often too. And when you go to replace that alternator and you try to basically unbolt it from the block there, the bolt will break off inside the block. So make sure you get some drill bits so you can re-bore those out every time you have to replace your alternator. Look, this is the greatest car of all time. I love this thing. I want it. I've never seen one so clean. But
this one
good Lord, what a piece! I've never seen one this clean.
Fully restored.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Totally. Yeah, the guy bought it in 2010 and went about fully restoring the car. This is a Bertoni design, and if I'm not mistaken, JP, was this not your first ever automobile?
It was. Even Lane remembered that because I won't shut up about it when I talk about first cars. Look, this video was a startup video. It's 2 minutes 32 seconds. There's a reason why it's 2 minutes 32 seconds is because the car will fail at 2 minutes and 38 seconds. So he just cut it off before anything exploded.
Oh my God!
Oh, jeez.
JP, did you have this one or the one with the Mira headlights?
What year is this one?
72.
72. I had a 69, so that's a good question.
I'm trying to think if the Mira, because the covered headlights, I forget what year those.
Oh yeah, no, I did not have covered headlights. Mine were open. Yeah, I don't remember them having covered headlights ever. That's interesting.
Yeah, the early ones, and they were straight from the Lamborghini Mira.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, there were so many things in common with a Lamborghini Mira. You know, mostly that they don't work very often. And they happen to come from the same country. Yeah, no, I am fawning over this. Mine was black on black, and it was, you know, the thing about this car being your first car, the fact that it had an engine in the back was everything, right? I mean, it wasn't a Volkswagen Beetle like everybody else in high school had if you wanted something European. And, you know, having a drop top, this is why I am such a Cabrio fan. I mean, I grew up in stupid, you know, like old beat up Chevy K5 Blazers and Datsun pickups. My parents were not into cars. They could give a rat. They were just like whatever utilitarian thing you could get. So when my father's buddy got one of these and let me drive it when I was like 15 and I could drive a car with no roof, it was like, oh my gosh, driving a car is fun. Everything else was a 3 in the tree in a van or something horrible. This thing was like, what? It just blew my mind. So I just absolutely went nuts trying to find one, and I did, to my peril. But there it is.
To my peril.
It has caused me all kinds of problems for the rest of my life because now I want cars with engines in the back that have no roofs, and that is a bad habit to have. Lane, have you ever driven one of these things?
Yeah, we had the Lambo headlight version.
You did? Oh, okay.
Place of business, and I drove it around the block a few times before we ripped it apart to not restore it.
Parts car.
To have it sit forever and then sell it as a project car.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're cool, dude. It's super fun. It's like it's exactly what you know. It's like, and I actually fit decently well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, your head had to have been over the top of the windshield, and you could probably, like, I could almost reach out of the door and touch the bottom of the car, and it was just.
You could reach over the back and open the hood with the trunk,
rear
with the motor. Yeah. I love the design. The Bertoni design is beautiful. Take the bumpers off, put some magnesium wheels on it. Yeah. It would gorgeous. But I hate the single cam motors. The single cam motors are anemic. If you could somehow manage to fit a twin cam motor, like a 2-liter twin cam, I bet it would be fun to drive. With like 120 horsepower, this car would fly. This thing only makes 48 horsepower with that 4-speed manual. It's just garbage. Yeah. But anyway, our car is a no reserve auction. It's sitting at $12,500. Sorry, guys. Excuse me for being all congested. Actually, it's up to $13,700 with about 5 hours to go. This one's really nice, and I think somebody will pay a premium for the restoration. So I'm, again, going high. I'm going to say, for the second time today, $28,000.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
That's
watch.
Nutty, buddy.
Watch.
I can't wait to watch the show tomorrow.
Watch and learn. Where you at, Lane?
That's good, dude. I think that would definitely be a world record.
It would be a world record.
I know that I don't think these get much love, dude. A lot of people don't know about them, and it's just like, and they are pretty rare, So like, but if you do want it, this is like, the one. I mean,
the nicest one.
You want the earlier ones, ideally, with the headlights I talked about, but
true.
If this is what you want, this is perfect. This thing looks perfect. I mean, way better than this thing was new. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I thought I was gonna go high. I'm gonna go 19.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, I don't. And where's it at now? 13?
And I'm going high.
13.7. It's at 13.7.
I'm going 18. There's no way this thing breaks 20. It's a Fiat 850 Sport. This is such a cool car, but
it's the nicest Fiat 850 Sport on the planet.
Here's the thing: you can, it's not going to be expensive to ship. Do not try to drive this thing home. If you're thinking, I'm going to get a convertible and do a road trip home, bad idea. The good news about this car is, when you go to the post office, they've got those pre-packaged boxes. This will fit in one of those. So you don't have to put it on the back of a trailer or anything like that. This car will fit. We'll just ship in just about anything. Wow. Bringing me back. Thanks for picking this one, Deeb. This is definitely a cool car in my book, but I doubt everyone agrees.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were having Lane on, or I would have picked more rad cars. But anyways, it was really fun. And Lane, it's fun to see your knowledge go beyond the 80s and 90s,
Oh, dude. So when we sold ours, the guys picked it up in a U-Haul, and we just carried everything into the back of the U-Haul. That's one thing kind of cool though. It's you don't need a lot of room to work on this car, and it's like having a motorcycle. You can pull that engine in 20 minutes.
That's right.
This car, even though it's not rad era technically, to me it screams rad era, because if you were in high school in the 80s, most people didn't have cool cars. Most people didn't have 16-valve Scirocco's or 85 911s or any of that stuff. We had old 60s and 70s cars. We had, hopped up Toyota Celicas and, old beat-up Fiats and stuff like that. Really, 60s and 70s beaters were the cars that the high school parking lot was full of. And this was my car in 1989. So, and I had a Locomotion sticker on it, and I probably put the stupid bright pink windshield wipers on it, the Ungo, or what were those called? Those wiper blades, the dual bladed wiper blade things.
The dual ones.
With the little wind deflectors on them. I don't think I put them on my Fiat, but I did on my Scirocco. This car brings me back to the 80s way more than pretty much any nice car from the 80s, because I didn't have access to nice cars.
Dude. It's like in Santa Cruz, it was like bugs that were Cali styled out is what I think of the 80s. So it's a 68, so the big bumper bug, but de-bumpered Cali style trim with shaved door handles and some graphics on the side or something. And we do allow those in Radwood as well.
When my engine blew up in this car, I wanted to put a Beetle engine in it, and I had spent most of my year in high school trying to figure out how to get that done. But by the end of the high school year, I was like, all right, I'm out. We sold it for junk, and I bought a Scirocco.
In 1985, I was 15 years old. I didn't have a driver's license yet. Me and Eddie Nasser bought an orange Fiat 131 off some lady in San Francisco for $300. And we rocked it for a few months until it broke down, and then we didn't have enough money to fix it, so we just kind of abandoned the car. But this Fiat was such trash. When we had the stereo on, if we turned the windshield wipers on, or the windshield wipers on, we turned the stereo on, the windshield wipers stopped working. The circuits and electrical on this thing were terrible. You couldn't use two accessories at the same time. But we would smoke and then go drive it on the grass and go and get parked. I mean, we were just idiots. Absolutely. It's amazing we didn't go to jail. I mean, it was really funny. We didn't do anything legal in that car. We never had insurance. We never registered it. It was just, we bought it, drove it, it broke down, we walked away. It was hilarious.
Sounds like a dream.
It was, it was high school. That was 85. Well,
all right. So
JP,
now we need to change the name of the show to Old Nerds.
Yeah, seriously.
So thanks for
geezers, big geezers.
Oh my gosh, guys! What a great trip down memory lane. Really, thanks, Deeb, for finding that car. I'm glad you noticed it. These were the most interesting cars of the day, and that's what we do every day on the Bid Nerds, Monday through Friday at the 9 o'clock hour. Hit your subscribe, like, and notification button so you know when the show is on. Lane Skelton from Rad For Sale and Radwood and DWA, thanks so much for joining us. Anything you want to plug before we dip on out of here?
All those things.
Huge drop tomorrow.
Those things,
Bid Nerds on DWA podcast tomorrow.
Bid Nerds.
Porsche Road Trip.
Polnik. Porsche Road Trip on DWA podcast tomorrow.
Boom.
Tune in for sure.
You know how nerds, the real nerd herd is actually going to stay up to midnight and watch it.
Drop at midnight.
Yeah,
we do talk a lot about Bid Nerds as well, and I talk shit about Deeb's little. Sorry, I'm not supposed to swear, but
you can swear. We don't have a sponsor.
I talk trash about Deeb's picking, claiming it was a big deal to pick a 911 over a Suzuki Samurai or something.
Absolutely.
Miata or MR2? Deeb's like, a 911R, a GT3. What are you doing? It's like,
Yeah, come on. Go big or go home.
Yeah, jeez, Deeb's answer. All right, I love it. Tune in. It's the best DWA podcast of all time, I'm sure.
All right.
It'll go down
sure,
in the annals of history.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, thanks for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. It's going to get noisy.
Thanks, Lane.
Get those words!